Did you know that every year thousands of children fall victim to abuse right in their own homes? It's a heartbreaking reality that many of us prefer to ignore, but today we're diving into a story that will shake you to your core. Imagine a picture-perfect family living in an affluent neighborhood with a beautiful home and a loving facade. Now, picture that same family hiding a dark secret, one so sinister that it defies comprehension. This is the chilling tale of William and Zachary Zulock, a gay couple from Georgia who adopted two young brothers and turned their lives into a living nightmare. What could possibly lead two men who seemed to embody love and acceptance to commit such horrific acts against the very children they vowed to protect? This isn't just a story about abuse. It's a look into the depths of human depravity and the resilience of those who suffered. Today, we will explore the unsettling details of the Zulock case, where a loving home became a house of horrors. We'll uncover the events that led to their shocking arrest and the heartbreaking reality faced by their two adopted sons. As we delve deeper into this disturbing story, we'll reveal how the community and the justice system responded to protect these innocent victims. The aim of this video is not only to recount this tragic tale, but also to shed light on the critical need for child protection measures. We want to raise awareness about the issues surrounding child abuse and the importance of vigilance within our communities. Together, we can stand against these injustices and ensure that no child has to endure what these boys experienced. But before we jump into this incredible story, take a moment to comment below where you're tuning in from. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories that will leave a lasting impression. Your support helps us share these powerful messages with the world. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Let's get started. To truly understand the unimaginable betrayal of the heart of this story, we need to take a closer look at the two men at the center of it all, William and Zachary Zulock. On the surface, they seemed like the epitome of success, love, and stability. William Zulock, at just 34 years old, worked as a government employee, a respectable and steady job. His husband, Zachary, 36, was building a career in the banking sector, a field that exudes professionalism and trust. Together they lived what many would have called the American dream, residing in an affluent suburb just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Their life appeared to be one of privilege and opportunity. They had a beautiful home in a well-to-do neighborhood, the kind of place where kids ride bikes along tree-lined streets, and neighbors exchanged polite smiles. William and Zachary presented themselves as the perfect couple, a picture of modern love, acceptance, and progress in a society that's slowly but surely becoming more inclusive. To the outside world, they were role models, trailblazers even, for LGBTQ+ families. Friends, neighbors, and acquaintances saw them as kind, loving individuals who had everything going for them. But behind closed doors, a far darker reality was unfolding, one that would eventually shock the entire nation. Now let's talk about the pivotal moment that made William and Zachary's story stand out from others in their community. A few years ago, the couple made a life-changing decision. They adopted two young brothers. The boys, just toddlers at the time, were brought into their home through a Christian special needs adoption agency. This agency specializes in placing vulnerable children, often with disabilities or challenging backgrounds, into loving, stable families. For the boys, it must have seemed like an answered prayer. They were being given a chance to grow up in a safe, caring environment, far removed from whatever struggles they had faced before. William and Zachary were celebrated for their decision. Adopting not one but two children, especially brothers, was seen as a selfless and noble act. The couple was praised for opening their hearts and their home to these boys, offering them the promise of a brighter future. On social media, the Zulocks often showcased their perfect family life. Smiling family photos, holiday celebrations, and fun outings painted a picture of love and happiness. To anyone looking in from the outside, they seemed like the ideal parents, devoted, compassionate, and deeply committed to giving these boys the best life possible. And yet, beneath this polished exterior was something far more sinister. It's chilling to think about, isn't it? These two men who were supposed to be protectors, who were supposed to provide safety and stability, were hiding a horrifying secret. They were using the guise of a happy family to conceal unspeakable acts. Imagine the sheer betrayal of trust, not just for the boys who looked to them as fathers, but for the community that believed in them, supported them, and celebrated their story. This is where the tragedy begins. What started as a seemingly heartwarming tale of love and acceptance, a story of two brothers being adopted into a family that could finally give them a home, turned into a nightmare no one could have predicted. The Zulocks had carefully curated their image, fooling everyone around them. Little did the world know this picture-perfect couple would soon be exposed for their unimaginable crimes. Crimes that would leave an indelible scar on the lives of two innocent boys and shock an entire nation to its core. The contrast between the lives they portrayed and the horrors they inflicted is staggering. It's a reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and sometimes the most monstrous acts are committed by those who seem the most ordinary. This betrayal of trust is what makes their story so haunting. These two men, who were supposed to represent love and acceptance, instead became the architects of unimaginable pain for the children they were entrusted to protect. As we move forward, we'll uncover the details of what happened behind the walls of their home, a place that was supposed to be a sanctuary, but instead became a prison for two innocent boys. This is where the true horror begins. As we peel back the layers of this chilling story, we come to the heart of the horror. The systematic abuse that the two young boys endured at the hands of their adoptive fathers, William and Zachary Zulock. It's almost unfathomable to think that in a home where love was supposed to reign, there existed a reality so dark that it defies imagination. The abuse was not just sporadic or isolated, it was systematic, a deliberate pattern of exploitation that unfolded over time. The boys, who were just 3 and 5 years old, were subjected to heinous acts of sexual abuse. The Zulocks did not just commit these unspeakable acts in secrecy. They took it a step further. They filmed their abuse, creating horrifying child pornography that they would later share and distribute. This was not simply a betrayal of trust. It was a calculated effort to commodify the innocence of these children, turning them into objects for their own twisted desires. Imagine the fear and confusion those boys must have felt. They were trapped in a nightmare, forced to endure experiences that no child should ever have to face. The regularity of this abuse is perhaps the most disturbing aspect of their ordeal. It wasn't a one-time event or a momentary lapse in judgment. It became a routine. The boys were coerced into participating in acts that would haunt them for the rest of their lives, often at the hands of those who were supposed to be their protectors. This dark reality raises countless questions about how such atrocities could happen, and why no one seemed to notice the signs. Even more disturbing is the couple's interactions within their community. Instead of hiding their actions in shame, they flaunted their depravity. William and Zachary would brag about their horrific acts to friends, seemingly reveling in the power they held over these innocent children. This disturbing sense of pride in their abuse is chilling. They transformed the boys' suffering into a twisted form of conversation, as if it were a badge of honor, rather than the monstrous crime it truly was. One particularly shocking incident involved Zachary, who shared explicit images of one of the boys being abused on Snapchat. "Can you imagine the audacity?" he wrote to a friend. "I'm going to F my son tonight. Stand by." It's difficult to process how someone could casually toss around such heinous intentions, as if they were discussing mundane plans for the evening. This act not only reveals the depths of their depravity, but also how deeply they disregarded the innocence of the boys and their own responsibilities as parents. The Zulocks' willingness to share their actions speaks volumes about their mindset. They were not just predators, they were proud of their crimes. Desensitized to the pain they inflicted, and emboldened by a community that, at least for a time, remained oblivious to the horror unfolding behind closed doors. It's a stark reminder of how abuse can thrive in silence, often hidden in plain sight, while those who should protect the vulnerable are instead the ones perpetrating the violence. As we reflect on this tragic reality, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that such atrocities can occur anywhere, even in the most seemingly perfect settings. The story of William and Zachary Zulock serves as a haunting reminder that evil can wear many faces, and sometimes it hides behind the most familiar masks. The pain and suffering of those innocent boys is a call to action for all of us, urging us to remain vigilant and aware of the signs of abuse, no matter how well hidden they may be. As we continue to unravel this nightmare, we will soon learn how the truth came to light, exposing the darkness that had long been shrouded in secrecy. As the layers of this horrific story begin to unravel, we reach a pivotal moment, the point at which the darkness could no longer remain hidden. The initial discovery that would ultimately lead to the arrest of William and Zachary Zulock can be traced back to a seemingly unrelated incident involving an alleged member of a local child pornography ring. It's unsettling to think about, but sometimes it takes just one crack in the facade for the entire house of cards to come tumbling down. In early 2022, law enforcement agencies were alerted when a suspect was caught downloading child pornography. This individual, already under scrutiny, began to provide investigators with critical information that would prove vital in uncovering the Zulock's heinous crimes. During questioning, this alleged member of the ring revealed the existence of videos featuring the Zulocks and their adopted sons. Just imagine the police detectives' shock as they listened to these revelations, knowing they were about to unearth a story far more sinister than they had anticipated. With this new information in hand, investigators began to gather evidence. They meticulously combed through digital materials, including online communications and social media interactions. It became clear that William and Zachary had not only committed unspeakable acts, but had also documented them, creating a horrifying archive of abuse. They lived in their home across the road from the stationery store, on a residential street in the town. The evidence began to paint a damning picture of systematic abuse that had been hidden in plain sight for far too long. As the investigation progressed, authorities compiled a mountain of evidence, video recordings, images, and statements that painted a chilling narrative of exploitation and manipulation. The Zulocks had created a web of deceit that entangled not only their victims, but also their friends and community. It was becoming increasingly clear that this was not just a case of individual wrongdoing, it was a deeply entrenched problem that needed to be exposed. By mid-2022, the investigation reached its critical juncture. With overwhelming evidence in place, the police were ready to act. On a fateful day that would change the lives of everyone involved, law enforcement executed a coordinated operation to arrest William and Zachary Zulock. Imagine the tension in the air as officers approached their home, knowing that behind those walls lay a dark secret that had to be brought to light. The arrest itself was a culmination of months of hard work, meticulous gathering of evidence, and the courage of those willing to speak out. As the Zulocks were taken into custody, the reality of their actions began to sink in, not just for them, but for the community that had once celebrated their family. The shocking news spread like wildfire, leaving behind a trail of disbelief and horror. How could this have happened? How could two men who seemed to embody love and acceptance commit such monstrous acts against their own children? In the aftermath of their arrest, the Zulocks faced serious charges, including aggravated child molestation and sexual exploitation of children. As the case moved forward, the community was left grappling with a painful truth. The very individuals they had trusted to protect the innocence of two young boys had instead betrayed that trust in the most grotesque way imaginable. As we continue to explore the fallout from this shocking case, we will examine the legal proceedings that followed and the impact this tragedy had on the lives of the victims and their community. What happens when the masks we wear are stripped away, revealing the darkness that lies beneath? The answers are as disturbing as the story itself, as we delve deeper into the consequences of this unimaginable betrayal. As the dust began to settle following the shocking arrest of William and Zachary Zulock, The legal proceedings that would follow were as harrowing as the crimes committed. The charges against the couple were severe: aggravated child molestation and sexual exploitation of children. These were not just legal terms. They represented a profound violation of trust and innocence, crimes that would haunt the lives of two young boys forever. The evidence against the Zulocks was overwhelming, with videos, testimonies, and countless documents detailing the horrific abuse. The prosecution had a strong case. As the reality of their actions began to sink in, William and Zachary made the decision to plead guilty. This choice was not just a legal maneuver. It was an acknowledgement of the depth of their depravity, a recognition that they could no longer hide behind their carefully curated facade. But by pleading guilty, they also faced the consequences of their actions head-on, a reality they could no longer escape. Pleading guilty, however, did not absolve them of the gravity of their crimes. In fact, it only intensified the scrutiny they faced. During the proceedings, District Attorney Randy McGinley discussed the case in stark terms, describing the Zulocks' actions as depravity that is as deep as it gets. His words echoed the sentiments of a community grappling with the fallout of this betrayal. He noted the bravery of the victims, highlighting their incredible resolve in the face of unimaginable horror. "The strength of the victims in this case is truly inspiring," he stated, reminding everyone that, despite the darkness, there is a flicker of hope and resilience that can shine through. As the legal process unfolded, the court's focus shifted to sentencing. In a moment that brought a mix of relief and sorrow, the judge handed down the sentence: 100 years in prison for each man, without the possibility of parole. This was not merely a punishment, it was a statement, a recognition that their actions were beyond comprehension and could never be justified. The sentence served as a reminder to the community and to the world that such acts of unspeakable cruelty would not be tolerated. In the courtroom, the weight of the moment was palpable. Families, friends, and community members gathered to witness the outcome of a case that had rocked their lives. The realization that justice had been served, albeit in a small measure, was a bittersweet victory. For the young boys who had endured so much, it was a step towards healing, a signal that their voices had been heard, and that they were no longer trapped in the shadows of shame and fear. As we reflect on the legal proceedings and the subsequent sentencing, it's crucial to remember the impact of the Zulocks' actions. Their decisions not only altered the course of their lives, but forever changed the lives of two innocent children. The ramifications of child abuse extend far beyond the immediate victims. They ripple through families, communities, and society as a whole, leaving scars that can take a lifetime to heal. In the wake of these events, we must confront the uncomfortable truth. The fight for justice is a long and arduous journey, but the resolve of those who stand for the vulnerable, like the brave young boys in this case, demonstrates that even in the face of darkness, there is strength and hope. As we move forward, we will explore the broader implications of this case, the ongoing fight for child protection, and how we can all play a part in ensuring that such horrors are never repeated. The story of William and Zachary Zulock serves as a chilling reminder of the vigilance required to protect our most precious and vulnerable members of society. As we come to the conclusion of this harrowing tale, it's essential to focus on the true heroes of this story. The two young boys who endured unimaginable suffering, yet emerged with remarkable resilience. Throughout the investigation and legal processes, these brave children demonstrated a strength that is both inspiring and heartbreaking. Despite the trauma they faced, they found the courage to speak out, to share their experiences, and to confront the very individuals who were supposed to protect them. Their voices, once silenced by fear, became powerful instruments of change, shining a light on the darkness that had enveloped their lives. It's important to acknowledge that their journey is far from over. The emotional scars left by such abuse can linger for years, affecting their sense of safety, trust, and self-worth. Yet, through the support of child advocates, therapists, and a community rallying behind them, these boys are on a path toward healing. Their resilience serves as a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and rise above even the most harrowing circumstances. The community's response to the Zulock case has been profound. In the aftermath of the revelations, local residents, child welfare advocates, and organizations focused on protecting children have come together to address the issues highlighted by this tragedy. There have been community meetings, awareness campaigns, and calls for stronger safeguards in the adoption process. The outpouring of support signifies a collective recognition that child abuse can happen anywhere, and it's a responsibility shared by all to ensure that children are safe and protected from harm. Moreover, this case has ignited discussions about the importance of vigilance in child welfare. The Zulocks managed to operate under the radar for far too long, and it raises critical questions about how we can better safeguard vulnerable children. It is crucial for adoption agencies and communities to implement thorough background checks, provide ongoing support to adoptive families, and educate the public about the signs of abuse. Prevention is always better than intervention, and we must strive to create an environment where children can grow up free from fear and harm. As we reflect on the impact of this case, let it serve as a rallying cry for all of us. We must remain vigilant and proactive in our efforts to protect the most vulnerable among us. By amplifying the voices of survivors, advocating for stronger child protection measures, and fostering a culture of awareness and accountability, we can work together to ensure that no child has to endure what these boys experienced. The story of William and Zachary Zulock is a stark reminder of the darkness that can exist in the world, but it is also a call to action, a challenge to each of us to stand up, speak out, and make a difference in the lives of children everywhere. In closing, let us carry the lessons of this tragic story with us, reminding ourselves that every child deserves a safe and loving home, and that it is our duty to protect them at all costs. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of a story that, while painful, underscores the importance of vigilance, compassion, and resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. If this story has moved you, please consider supporting organizations that work tirelessly to protect children from abuse and help survivors heal. Every small action can make a big difference. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to engage with this important topic. If you have thoughts, reflections, or questions, please share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that shed light on the things that matter most. Together, we can raise awareness, inspire change, and create a safer world for our children. Thank you, and until next time, stay safe and vigilant.